Hi, it is November 4th, 2024. This is an open door. My name is Cindy, and in this weekly Monday meeting, we tend to pull a concept or some ideas from A Course in Miracles and discuss how we can immerse ourselves into those concepts as we um, live these human lives. I have a song. It's The Circle of Life. So if you don't like The Lion King or Elton John, then you could walk away. um, I I was guided, and I don't even remember why, but the teaching today comes from chapter 28, um, section 2, reversing cause and effect. And I just pulled a little bit from that chapter because I could have probably, I don't know if y'all remember that chapter and that even these 4 or 5 pages within this small section of the book, but I could have probably spent a year. And boy, Richard did it talk about the dream and the dream characters and the illusion and how, yes, and how to be with the illusion and all sorts of things. But um, I didn't go there because maybe someday Richard will go there. Um, but it did talk about, here's the quote that led to my knowing this is the song I wanted to play. So I will read the quote from the first page of this section, and then we'll play the song. And then Barbara will remember to remind me to hit record again, and then we'll continue with whatever's next. So the quote reads, "The circle of creation has no end. Its starting and its ending are the same, exclamation mark. But but in itself, it holds the universe of all creation without beginning and without an end." So we're gonna spend a few minutes with the song A Circle of Life, which by the way, I cannot add this version anyway to our playlist because it was made for children. Um, and YouTube has rules about that. So here we go. Yay, I remembered. All right, I'm going to be beginning at the end of my notes because it really just dropped. And I'll probably repeat this. There's tears forming because something really big dropped. So we're Course in Miracles students. And so we accept that this is a dream. There's a thing that's happening. And and man, no, Patty's in the house. I think it was Thursday. Sandra wasn't here, and I kept saying, "I wish Sandra was here. I wish Sandra was here." But the thing is, if if we, on a very cellular level, accept the illusory, temporary nature of our experience, then what happens, and that step one, step two, and God is all love, all the stuff from A Course in Miracles, right? Then what happens is the fear gets drained out of the storyline. The fear of the future, the grievances about the past. And when we drain the fear out of our story, what happens is we have the ability to fully live in the present moment, whatever it looks like. We can fully be with whatever the problem du jour is, or we could fully experience the joy of new birth. We can be fully present in the conversation in front of us. We can feel the intensity of the pain or the fear of whatever crisis just hit without the mind talking about what it means. Because ultimately, it's just the circle of life. It's just the wave in the ocean. giving that a moment to drop in for me. You know, what was so phenomenal about that video is it showed all of that, right? It showed the birth, it showed the battle, it showed the momentary fear, it showed the Hakuna Matata, and it showed, okay, now we've got to save the world. Like all of that all took place within the circle, and it all just kept moving, and it began and ended at the same place. Now the hair on my arms are standing up. So the first quote I have written down from just this one section, um, the separation started with the dream, the Father, unless you want to call it God or Brahman or Supreme
Where are
Consciousness
you,
or
Cindy? Cindy,
oh,
where are you?
I'm on my notes. But let me grab my
Oh,
iPad.
okay.
I will get it for you. It's in the purple book. Do you have the blue book in front of you? I was using the purple book. Purple book, chapter 28, section 2. And in the purple book, it's called Reversing Effect and Cause.
Cindy, what's the page number in the purple book, if you don't mind?
The section, yeah.
835.
Everybody spoke at once and I didn't get it.
835.
Thank you.
I didn't write down the whole thing. So I'm gonna pull the exact quotes part in the section at when somebody else is sharing, so I don't take all of our time. This quote reads, the separation started with the dream the Father was deprived of his effects, i.e., somehow I separated from God. And powerless to keep them since he was no longer their creator. I'm going to read that chapter because the impossibility of that happening, that God is powerless to hold me in his heart, but whatever. I think this is actually at the end of this section, which is why I couldn't find it. I'll find it in a minute. I'm going to read it again, though. The separation started with the dream the Father, and I added God or Brahman or Supreme Consciousness, was deprived of his effects, i.e., the wave left the ocean, or this human being somehow is no longer part of what created it, was deprived of his effects and powerless to keep them since he was no longer their creator. So I sat with that and just accept that that doesn't, thank you, Rana. That doesn't even, paragraph 8, it doesn't even make any sense. Like if you just look at that one line, how do you do that? It doesn't, it's non, I got Joel Goldsmith. It's nonsense. He loves that word. It's the dream of a sick mind, right? And so the next quote, let's see how quickly Rana finds this, because I moved all around this one little section. The miracle is useless if you learn but the body can be healed, for this is not the lesson it was sent to teach. The lesson is the mind was sick that thought the body could be sick. Projecting out its guilt caused nothing and had no effects. The body, and actually all of, thank you, Cindy's life is but the wave in the ocean, right? It's a temporary manifestation. And the idea that it could be sick is the same as stating that somehow God could be sick. That what I am in truth could die would mean that God, a piece of God could die. But does any of that make sense? The idea that you and I are separate bodies that have separated from our creator, like that's what it was looking at in this space. It's asking me to accept that this is an insane idea, A, and it ain't possible. So I could play with it. I could feed the illusion that it's true. But it's not true, and it can never be true. One of the definitions I love of God is life, right? And so life is what created me, and life is what fills me. And if I separate from life, then there is no longer any life. So the next part of this, and this is me interpreting, or this is where coming up from reading these sections over and over again, right? The dream, I'm in the dream, I'm still in this dream. I still feel pain of the fact that I don't have a car out there, Richard. My daughter has my car. Nothing happened in the month that I was gone. Her car is still in impound, so it hasn't been totaled. I knew that would make you laugh. So I'm this dream character, right? Who is living in a Groundhog Day of stolen cars and weird insanity. It's like it's affecting the body, but at this point it's hysterical, right? It's loosening. I'm not losing sleep. I'm going, oh, what's going to happen this time? So there's a dream, and in this current Cindy dream experience, her daughter's car gets stolen over and over and over again, and somehow Emma's not taking care of business in different ways each time. It's kind of insane. So that's the story that's sitting here. And I'm being entertained this time, which is kind of neat. When I accept that it's illusory, that it doesn't have the meaning I think it has as a human being, then, like I said before, what happens is the crisis, the fear, this is happening to me, sort of drains from it. And the sense of an independent identity separate from God weakens, and then in ways that I can't understand, God gets to move through the story and allow a healing inside of Cindy. And as a result, and this has been my experience, allows for a higher vibrational awareness in everyone else she touches. So what I love about this section, what I loved about the way it's sitting, is there's a deeper understanding of what I've heard, and I'm going to give names to it because there's been names specifically from Sandra and Richard lately. Like, let's not reject our humanness. And Amy, let's fully immerse in what we are. I'm a dream character. Look at me. I'm going to have fun in this dream, right? And with the deepening into the acceptance that that's really like there's a weird kind of hiccup, there's a nonsensical basis to the dream, and if I allow the nonsense of it to if I put it on the altar, if I give it to God, if I ask for the forgiveness of I don't care what you call it, right? Awareness alone is curative. The moment I know that this hamster wheel doesn't make any sense, there's no logic to what's happening, then it weakens and the miracle flows through. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I know that my vibration is extending and expanding, that I'm being more entertained by whatever's going on. And like my daughter, and you guys have been with me this year. Yes, when she drove me back here this weekend, she said, I'm taking full responsibility. I know there's a weird hit. I think she called it this, my brain's not working right. I wake up every morning and I plan to take these steps. I know it's dumb that I'm not taking these steps. And then I don't do it. And I'm going to get your car fixed and I'm going to take care of it. And I don't want you to think that it didn't happen because you weren't here to help me. Like these are all like there's an awareness that's happening. And since the entire dream is broken, I'm not pulling her out as being specially broken, if that makes sense. And I'm also allowing that this world that I'm living is my projection. And I'm willing to stand still and find out what's here that can be brought to the light. So that's what I'm giving to the group today. And thank you, Amy. And Livy.
Hi, everyone. Oh, welcome back, Amy. I hope you're feeling really good. It's so good to see you. And boy, is this teaching not, and it's funny, before I got on here, I had thought about sharing this and I thought, no, I'm just going to listen today. And then you brought it up and it was like, maybe it needs to be said that about the body. I'm having a lot of these realizations that that I have there are blocks to love as it relates to my body, in that thinking that something needs to be different. And it's constantly thinking, if I can change the outside, then the inside will be better. If something on the outside could be different, then I would have more love in my life. And what it is I am not giving myself that. It's a block to the oneness's love and recognizing who I am. And for ever, I don't speak in years anymore, I speak in decades. And so, for decades, I've had, since I was in my late teens, intense digestive issues. And recognizing today that those were created as a defense mechanism and providing some perceived safety. And just recognizing that I can let go of that story that's related to the self-hatred that I've experienced in my life, that has created a defense mechanism against perceived danger coming towards me, a perceived pain from out there. And so this was just really right up my alley as to the pointing of this reading, and just what I've been realizing lately, that it's just a story that is a block to the oneness that I am with everybody, and that this is just a dream. This is just, I was telling Rana last week, that this is a gift. This is the oneness expressing itself, and my ego wants to attach to it. And this is the body that, for whatever reason, the oneness is, I want to experience life through this body. Please allow me the openness to do that. And just recognizing that, just to be an open channel, that this is just a dream, and that the goal for me is to keep the space open and free of blocks. And I'm grateful for the blocks that are presenting themselves that I can now name, instead of just automatically going into that, because I have trained the body for 60 plus years to be that way. And that today I can recognize it's a playground. This is just a body that the oneness has created to play through. If I judge my singing, I'm judging the universe, because the universe is like, I want to sing. It's me singing. It's not even you. You don't even have to attach an ego to it. And this is stuff that is entering here, and it's taking a while for it to, make its way down. And that's why I'm especially grateful for this group, that I can bring these things to, and I can hear the experience, strength, and hope from each of you and everything that you bring to help me unblock these blocks to love that I have. So I'm incredibly grateful for every person on this journey with me, and on an open door. I just really, really appreciate this a lot. So thanks a bunch. Thanks so much.
So, there's something that came up for me, and I wish I pulled this quote, but I didn't. Maybe I'll work on this section again next week because there's a lot of things. But one of the things that you said something that triggered this here is that this section also reminded the character that she can't do it, which is awesome. The character isn't going to forgive. The character isn't, we've heard it, going to awaken. The character isn't going, like you said, I don't even remember what you said. It got triggered. What this section says is we could be willing to accept that this is a dream, and we could rest and step away and allow the forgiveness, allow the atonement, allow the rising in consciousness. There's actually nothing to awaken, because we are simply removing the illusion, like we're removing the veil. And it's very useful for me as I'm playing with this hamster wheel of stolen cars. It's not that I don't take whatever steps I'm guided to take, but this time around especially, I'm recognizing that resting around the fear, resting around there were body sensations of nausea. Like why is this happening to me? Like there's physical sensations, body physical sensations. And this time around, it's become much easier to hold that, even though it can feel really not like sick, without attaching it to the story. There's something else that wants to come up to be released. And perhaps the insanity, the craziness of this story this time is allowing the mind to rest. But the character doesn't do anything. If it does anything, it chooses, and it allows, and it softens, and it let goes, and it consciously doesn't respond by trying to fix the world to feel like. The one conscious act that I continually take, that I remember to continually take, is I will take no step in the world to feel better inside. All right, Amy, really good that you're here, and thank you for speaking before you have to go do whatever you got to do to move your body.
Yeah, I'm going to try and sit for a while. You just are rocking this one, Cindy. I want to welcome you back. And I'm so glad that you're back. I know you were still with us anyway, but I feel like we have all of you to ourselves now. So, oh my goodness. What a friggin' great teaching this is. I just love it. I love it, love it, love it. It's a form of self-inquiry, this teaching, because it says the separation started with the dream that the creator, whatever, the father, was deprived of its effects and powerless to keep them since it was no longer the creator. I mean, That is the first self-inquiry. Did I create myself? No. Did I create this moment? No. And then what you said about recognizing the recognition that the fear is not justified in any form. That's one of the first lessons. The recognition that fear is not justified. That opens the door for the miracle, whatever form the miracle is, which we can't anticipate because we didn't create the miracle, we just receive it. It weakens the dream. And we have no clue what that path is or where it comes from. Our only responsibility, if you can call it that, it's not a responsibility, it's an invitation and a gift, is to stay open and to do the inquiry. Did I create this moment? No. Can I influence this moment? No. Did I create myself? No. I absolutely love it. This explains everything. And I love this last paragraph in paragraph 9. The final step is an effect of what has gone before appearing as a cause. We could spend an hour talking about that. It's an effect. Why is it an effect of what has gone before? Because everything has already happened in mind of God. The miracle is the first step in giving back cause, in giving back to cause the function of causation, not effect. I'd love to spend more time talking about this. It may be too mental for some folks, but if anyone ever wants to spend more time talking about that, I just think this tells it like it is. This is why the Course in Miracles is so powerful.
I got to tell you though, Amy, it was an interesting experience over the last couple of days. I can't tell you how many times I read these pages over and over and over again. These particular pages, the ego fought them tooth and nail. Like I'd read a paragraph and then immediately, start to feel dizzy and want to go away and like literally throw the book and none of this makes any sense. And something kept having me get real quiet until a teaching sort of almost appeared off the page. It just clearly states like
Yeah.
what you call real, it's impossible. It's impossible. So when you recognize that you've reversed cause and effect, and the fact that you feel like we feel responsible for choosing where we're going to place our attention and choosing, that stuff. But after that, yeah, like what part of Emma's life or Cindy's life or whatever you wanted, this last time, she had a tire lock on her friggin' tire, and boom, like it's all just, and it doesn't matter which story it is. I could tell lots of stories. We could all tell a lot of stories, and all of a sudden guilt and fear, and I wish things were different, and if only they did, but none of it,
Yeah.
all of it is distraction, right?
It's all distraction. The miracle is the first step in giving back to cause the function of causation, not effect. So the miracle is giving back to the big S self through the small s self that I did not cause myself.
I never left you. So
I
let
never
me
left
rest. I never
I
left
never-
you. So let me rest while all these seemingly effects of my leaving you get healed or forgiven or corrected. Right?
Yeah. And going back to page the beginning, reversing cause.
It took a while, Amy, but you might as well turn your video off.
Ah, shite.
You're back.
Okay, am I back? Okay.
Yeah.
Just, and maybe Rana, and we can do this some other time, but without a cause, there can be no effect. Without effects, there can be no cause. A cause is made by its effects. The Father is a father by his Son. That is a bunch of information right there. We need to talk about that. That's really important.
Yeah, we're
What
gonna
that,
hold on.
okay, what that starts to speak to is the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And that's all I'll say. I just love this. It just sets my heart on fire. Thank you for listening.
We're gonna talk about effect and cause and effect and what all that means next week as well. Without a doubt. We'll see where it takes us.
It makes my
Thank you,
head
Ann.
want to explode today. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, it's egoic resistance. We could talk about egoic resistance too, but when something like this is creating like a head going boing, it's literally the ego saying, "Don't go there, don't go
Yeah,
there,
I
don't go
mean,
there."
I've
You're
got a
hurting me."
headache like you would not believe. It started a little bit before this, but now it's just pounding. So interesting.
Yeah.
All
Hey,
right,
like
Dave.
you'll really have a headache.
Well, promises, promises. It's all yours, David.
Okay, don't leave me, Amy. I wrote something. I have no idea what I wrote, and so all of you brilliant-minded folks, I want you to help me in this. So here, I think I haven't posted this yet. I just wrote it. I am no one, and no thing matters. I manifest into the now with empty hands and an empty mind, and if you know me, we can be free together. We can move on past fear and pain by leaving them behind and walk away. And so we are free to be, and we are no one, no one. We are the all, the everything, the forever. And I don't know what that means, but when I started writing it, it kind of like I got one of those Cindy tingles, like, oh, what is this? So if it means anything to you, I'm happy about that. But tell me what I just wrote.
I think you should read it again.
Okay. I am no one, and no thing matters. I manifest into the now with empty hands and an empty mind. And if you know me, we can be free together. We can move on past fear and pain by leaving them behind and walk away. And so we are free to be, and we are no one. We are the all, the everything, the forever.
Feels like you just wrote from the Tao, or from the formless, or from the ground of being.
Well, I've been reading the Tao for the last couple of days.
What I like
All
is,
that is, that's what I heard. All that is.
Go, Amy.
I heard manifesting with emptiness. I
Yeah.
really like that, manifesting with emptiness. And when you know me, we can be free together. I really like that.
Yeah, it just, like when I was talking about manifesting, like I'm here, but I've not been here. I've been sort of kind of around the edges as we hear a lot, but I wasn't. I'm getting into it, and I think I'm moving up a rung on the ladder these days. So that's a good thing.
Send it to me and I'll find a place. I'll figure out how to post it on our website.
Okay, all right. Thank you for listening, people, and thank you for helping me figure out what I'm doing.
And rumor has it, maybe Richard will know, but there is a message from Kay, who's listened to our video on Tony Parsons that we got from Richard for Thursday, that said that our current conversation is going to fit really well with that video. So looking forward to that. I haven't actually listened yet. Richard, I love you too, by the way.
Morning, everyone. A great subject, really deep subject. I mean, there were so many things in my mind. I have nowhere to start. First thing I want to say is, based on my experience in the dream, when I can laugh at what my experiences are to keep repeating, coming up in my dream, then I know I'm in healing. When I can laugh out loud at myself for having the same thing happen again and again, I believe I'm beginning to heal my mind with regard to whatever is coming up. So congratulations on that. Welcome back, Amy. I'm glad you're well and the operation went well. And welcome back from Mexico, Cindy. I know I've talked about Keith Kavanaugh before, but one of the things he has reawakened in my mind, reacquainted with me, is the four splits of the mind. And the fourth split was the one where we decided we wanted to split our mind into the innocent self, who has accepted the ego system. And in order to be the innocent self, I have to be the victim of the sin, guilt, and fear that I chose to accept as part of the ego thought system. And the way I can be the victimizer is I have to project the sin, guilt, and fear in the world. And that's what creates a dream. Well, all these multiple characters in the dream. Now, if I can, I know what Casey, I think, can, and I think the Course says it. In order to be in the right mind, you have to leave the dream. You have to rise above the battleground, that the Course says, and see the dream from external of the dream. You have to observe the dream. Now, as you observe the dream, you have to view everything you see in the dream with a non-judgmental awareness. In other words, you don't judge anything as good or bad. It just is. Now, so that's why I think cause and effect begin in our experience. We think the cause of our pain and suffering is something external to ourselves. And when we realize it's really a reflection of the original sin, guilt, and fear that we separated from our source, we come back to, we rise above the battleground, we reacquaint ourselves with our true self, which is the stillness of the mind, the Holy Spirit, and then we look upon the world. And I think, for me at least, now I'm at a place in my mind where I can observe the world by the experience of Richard without judging it, without losing my peace of mind. I can laugh at it at times, and I realize that everything I experience other than love is a reflection of the original sin, guilt, and fear I felt as the one Son of God who believed is separated from the source. And that didn't happen. So I can just let it be, whatever the dream is reflecting. So for me, this is a way of coming back into the dream and saying, okay, Richard, I want Richard to be a reflection of the infinite, unconditional love that I am in truth. And miracle principle number 7 says, miracles are natural, but purification is necessary first. And what we're going through, each of us on our own path as individual beings in the dream, is a purification process. So we have experiences in our dream, which are pointers to how do I purify my mind so I can manifest the love that I am in truth. And each of us have our own trials and missteps along the way where we feel something less than love. And that's a reminder that we're no longer in our right mind. We have to get back in our right mind and be the love that we are. So that's my view. Sorry it took so long. Love you all. Have a great week.
Loved every moment of your share. Just don't understand your apology. So I don't accept the apology. You talk as much as you want, as often as you want, Richard, and we're all blessed. Rana.
Okay, so here's just the tip of the ice cream cone that just arose after listening to all of you and then Richard. So what I'm seeing are the false effects from a false cause, right? None of those things existed because I think I made myself separate. There's the false cause. And then there's all this fear, which is a false effect and has no meaning. But I'm dreaming, so I don't know that until now, because now I know that I am the dreamer of the dream. So now I can choose again. Yeah? That's all I got right
Yes.
now. I'm gonna
Yes.
sit with that.
And the inner part just wants to talk about how effortless this choose again is, and how often the ego tries to
Right,
grab
and it's
a hold of
because
that.
that's right in there. It says, if you are the dreamer, you perceive this much at least, that you have caused the dream and can accept another dream as well. These are the happy dreams, the miracle exchanges for your own. It does not ask you make another. So it's not asking me to do anything. It's just asking me to notice, oh yeah, caught up in that damn dream again. And then maybe give it over to the Holy Spirit, go to the borderland, whatever is warranted.
Or just laugh. Richard
Or just
reminded
laugh,
us.
which happens too.
If we
Okay.
laugh enough. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody. My headache is not as bad right now.
Hey, David.
Yeah, what I was going to say, and then of course, Rana got on there and made it better, said more than I wanted to say. But we all, I think, I'm aware of the effect. I mean, the world, this world and all how screwed up it is, and all the trials and tribulations are there. But I think what I tended to do was create a cause that could match my perception of how things are. And okay, this is because all of this other stuff happened, and what Rhonda said, it just is. It's a cause because we forgot to laugh. It's a cause because we misinterpreted what is, and so that means that we misinterpreted what was, and therefore we misinterpret what is. And so I'm just kind of fumbling through this and trying to figure it out myself as I talk. But I really love all of us, and I really love the fact that my brain can just explode in these things, and in a good way, and in all these possibilities that never occurred to me come to mind, and it's like, wow, there's a whole lot going on here, and I really love it. So thank you for listening.
What was coming up as I was listening to you? I was reminding myself to be very careful about accepting linear time as true, because linear time is actually part of this whole kind of storyline, which just literally for me and for anyone else that's useful, there were these things coming up. Yeah, but I've been like this for 40 years. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. That type of energy is actually doesn't even make any sense based on everything we're talking about. So thank you for that, for activating that here. Amy.
Oh, let's hope I don't pause with my mouth open. Lately, I've just been so inspired to get closer to the love that of God, that is what we are, as Richard reminds us all the time. And so this paragraph has really opened me up today. This first one, I'm in the blue book on page 592. You know, without a cause, there can be no effect. And yet without effects, there is no cause. That sentence tells us why we are love. It's a perfect explanation of why cause loves us so much, because without us.
There you go. Frozen.
Don't worry, your mouth's not open.
Without us, cause is not itself. Without each and every aspect of our being, cause is not its whole self, and it loves itself unconditionally. And that's what we are. It just, we complete God because we are God. It's probably obvious to all of you, but it just really is hitting me in a deeper way.
Does that mean, Amy, that cause and effect are the same in reality?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yes, effect is a movement of cause. That's all we are, is a movement of cause. But it's all, yes, Richard, thank you.
Anybody else notice that Andrew hasn't even said good morning yet? Because
I
know.
noticed that. Like, no, there was no icons, nothing. No reaction.
See any hearts? I sent up some hearts. I'm enjoying the conversation. I just don't feel I can add anything to it. I will say how I try to look at the world, and I think it's like we're on a stage. I think Shakespeare's said this, and I'm totally misquoting him, but we're just actors in this world, playing a role. We have our own role. Trouble is, most people don't realize they're just playing a role, and this is not who we really are. And we're trying to remember who we really are. That's the problem. But I've enjoyed everybody's comments, and hello to everybody now that it's almost over.
Oh, nothing, the beginning and the end are one, remember? So it's all just now, signifying nothing. Hey, Rana.
Okay, I just wanted to add to Andrew, there's a quote from recovery literature, one of the stories, right? It says, Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage, but I'm its chief critic.
I like that.
All right. So who else would there are other regulars that are in the room that haven't shared yet. I wonder which one of them is gonna, I don't know. I think I saw that Linda Joy is back in her chair. So if you're back home from France, welcome home. Um, there she is. Oh, no, you're not home yet.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
And I'm in a space right now that I am perfectly content listening to you guys. It feels really good to be part of this group. And thank you for that. And I will be home in 2 days.
Woo!
I'll see you
Love
then.
you. Enjoy every moment. Hey, Chuck.
Hey, I'll end up because my head's been spinning all day and I was chasing around trying to find the pages in the blue and purple and I was getting lost all over the place. But I thank God for toward the end there. I remembered not to forgot to laugh, and I really needed to hear that. So thank you. You gave me a good ending to it all.
So if you do want to invest energy in reading this section, because we'll probably talk about something similar next week again, it is whichever book you're in. It's chapter 28,
Yeah, I
section 2.
finally was getting there and I found a couple of the passages, but then I was all over the place again. I got lost. But anyway, reversing effect and cause chapter 28, right?
Yeah. I tend to not set up, when I'm facilitating a class, I tend to not set up studying the course so much as pulling an idea out of the course and talking about how we could use it. But somehow this one took us back into the teaching of the course, which is awesome. But I just didn't set myself up for it. See what she does next week. Who knows? But anybody else? Does anybody else like to even just say hi?
Well, I
Love
want to say
us.
hi to Richard and tell Richard that I saw Resta a couple days ago and said hi. And she was teaching a class at her home, about a course class, and she was very good. And so all is well. And she was happy to hear from you through me. And so that's that. So
Thank you for that, David.
okay. Resta is a teacher, and she's a good friend of Richard's and a good friend of mine.
All right. Well, I'm feeling pretty complete. We got training wheels tomorrow. It'll be recorded this week. And it is at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. I had to think about what time. We have the 12 stepping meeting at noon tomorrow. Between now and then, I and others in this room are really easy to find. I love us all very, very, very much. I'm excited for whatever ways the divine is going to have us utilize an open door. And I'm going to hit the stop record button. Here we go.